So welcome back. Today what I'm actually going to do is a follow-up of the video that I made on the Canon G1 Mark II, which I actually purchased to take to a concert. The main reason why I bought this camera is because the concert actually only allowed cameras with lenses that you can't change. So I didn't have one of those. I looked around. This is the one that I kind of settled on. If you want to kind of see the story and how I got to this, I have another video I'll put in the link somewhere. I don't even know what side. But in any case, I took this to the concert. I'm going to put up pictures as I talk to kind of show you kind of what it was able to do. And frankly, I thought it performed perfectly. To me, the best camera is the camera that actually gets out of the way when you use it. If you don't have to fiddle around with it, if you don't have to, try to, understand stuff to make things work because it's not functioning in the way that it's supposed to, that's what I want a camera to do always. And this thing, the Canon menu is very simplistic. I mean, it was made in 2014. So there's not a whole lot on there to configure anyway, but there's enough. So you can still shoot manually to get your desired effect. But for me, shooting with this lens and this camera setup was just right for that concert, especially because it was a bigger concert in Empower Stadium, which is actually where the Denver Broncos play. So, and we were actually on the floor, but we weren't always close because the way the stages were configured, sometimes the performer would be closer, other times the performer would be further away. But yeah, this one was pretty solid. The EVF was a great help because once again, all the lights, sometimes just trying to look at the screen and look at the performer, it wasn't really working. And then of course, the lights dim, they go up. So just having the EVF was actually clutch. And I'm glad that I actually picked it up. I do like the other version of this EVF. I had the DC1, the one that flips up. It's like kind of square with a previous setup, which was the M6. Love that EVF too. I don't even know if I have a favorite. I like that one a lot also. But yeah, this camera did really well. Another place I actually took the camera to was just when I went to a college visit up in Fort Collins, Colorado, CSU. And I remember I took the camera with me, shot some stuff on campus, but then later on we went and hung out downtown, so I was able to shoot downtown. Same thing, man. It's just a really good camera to just get out there and take photos. I love the fact that it has the flip out screen, once again for composure, but then having the EVF, great help. Like I said, I live in Colorado. It's a bright, sunny place. So it's good to not have your screen washed out. I think the screen is actually really good though for what it actually is and considering the age. There are a couple of features that I can honestly say I wasn't expecting to like as much about this camera, but now I love. One is the ND, the built-in ND. I totally forgot how convenient it is. So I've been using that a lot. I actually mapped one of the buttons on the back. I believe it was the record button. I actually have mapped to turn the ND on and off. And then the button below it, I actually mapped it to the picture format. So this is something I really don't even do on my other cameras, but for some reason on this camera, I think it's because this is so easy to do. I found myself jumping between 3x2, 4x3, so your micro four thirds, or 1x1. Now the biggest difference, of course, is going to be between the 1x1 and then the other two, because it's a square photo. But it's been really fun to actually compose, and then either if I get a chance to take a photo or just hit the button really quick and take a look and see how it looks with a different format. It's been really nice. So I play with that a lot. And it's so easy to do. The other thing I like about this camera is you can also map the front dial. And I found during the concert that the dial was actually what I used more than shutter speed and aperture. And the main reason is because the lighting was always changing. It just kept changing. And so what I decided to do was I would set up everything. So I wanted to be able to stop all the motion that I could. And then I also did want my images to be blown out, but I also didn't want high ISO on this camera. So just kind of balanced that. Then I left it alone. I actually used the front dial to change the exposure. So when the lights did, decide to glare up or, increase in intensity or drop down, I would just move the dial back and forth for the exposure so I wouldn't be overexposed. And I've never really shot that way. I've always had, I guess I have, because I have cameras with exposure dials, but I'm just used to having a separate dial for it. I'm not used to it being on the front of the lens because generally the aperture ring is what I'm using on the front of the lens. But yeah, and it made it so much more simple. But once again, it was one of those things I didn't even consider until I got there and I started kind of shooting in the beginning, messing around with it, and then it kind of worked out. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this camera. What I'll tell you is when I first bought this camera, I was thinking, I'm just going to use it. And then whenever I get to the point where, it served its purpose, like at the concert, I was probably just going to sell it. I'm not going to sell it. I like this camera so much, in fact, that it's one of those things that I can see it being used for a lot of other different things. Plus, it's so convenient. I just throw this in my van in the center console, and I can just pop it out, take a shot. My Fujis, I generally have them in something. This one, I don't really protect it as much because it has a built-in lens cover. And don't get me wrong, I don't have a lot of stuff in the center console anyway to like scratch it up or mess it up. But because it's built so solidly, and then it's made in Japan. I mean, I think this thing could survive a lot, even if I did abuse it. Don't plan on doing that. But the other reason why I think I'm going to keep it is because even with my last EFM camera, which was my M6, I fell in love with that camera. I love the M3 too. I like the M6 so much that I couldn't even like bring myself to sell it. I gave it to a friend of mine who actually is into cameras. I'm like, yeah, I feel good about that because then I know it's going to get used. And yeah, it's just an awesome camera. But this reminds me so much of that camera, and that being one of my favorite cameras, that's another reason why I think I'd rather just keep this. Because in all actuality, I don't have to worry about getting into another set of lenses either because I already had a lens built in. But it reminds me kind of a mix between the M3, which I had previously, and that's kind of where it all started with the love of the EFM mount, and the M6. This is really older than both. It's older than the M3 by a year. So as far as autofocus performance, I think it's closer to the M3 because it has the contrast base. But as far as how it's built, it's definitely better built. And I'm not saying the M3 is not a well-built camera because it is. This is built better. This feels different. Kind of hard to describe. You really have to pick this thing up. And I would even actually say it might even be better built than the M6. But I always kind of felt like the M6 was a step up over the M3. But they're both great cameras. Yeah, so for the future, I don't see myself getting rid of this camera. Like I ended up buying, of course, another hood. I actually bought this thing twice. The first time I bought it, I wasn't even using it, so I sent it back. I decided to buy it again. It's like $8. I also bought the adapter ring for this lens, so then that way, when I added my filters, I can just screw them on. That was pretty cheap too. But I think that's about it. I think I have an extra battery, which I purchased third party. Don't plan on doing anything else but using this darn thing. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments. Right now, it's not as expensive. Hopefully that doesn't change. Hopefully it doesn't become popular. But, if you're going across one, forget what all the YouTube, whoever reviewers, when this thing came out, said. It's a great camera, but I'm kind of like biased when it comes to cameras because I like pretty much all cameras. But this one is one of those ones that shocked me because, yeah, I mean, I was already a person that was kind of into like Canons and stuff, all types of cameras. And I never really considered this one. And I think it was mainly because I wasn't really into like point shoots. But yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Click like, subscribe, and Agent Fit signing out.